It is the biggest show of the year. You know exactly what time it is every year. We're going to talk about the PYKIS. I got some thoughts. I'm incredibly nervous about it.
There's a few problems, but it looks good.
I'm not going to call it a full dud, but
can it do better?
Blackmagic is about to make a big move.
End of May, we are getting the R5 Mark II and the R1.
I'm excited about it.
I think it's going to shift the landscape.
But I'm equally as nervous about it. I'm incredibly nervous about it. What's good, Creative Fam? Brandon Washington here, and welcome back to another episode of Uncensored. Yo, we just got back in town from NAB, which, if you don't know what that is the National Association of Broadcast. But really what it is it's like the camera store of all camera stores, where every brand you could possibly imagine has like massive setups. You can talk to every single accessory maker. We're talking tripods, grip gear, lights, cameras, microphones, lenses, cinema lenses, robots, you name it. It's all there. And yo, it was so much fun. And this year I was really excited because I got a chance to bring out my co-host and really good friend, Mr. Jarrell Peak.
First time at NAB.
Yo, okay.
It was incredible.
What, like, tell the people, because there's a lot of people who haven't gone to NAB. What was it like for you?
So check this out. If you love gear, and we know that you love gear in the chat, there is unlimited gear. Everybody shows up.
Everybody.
Anybody that's anybody shows up to bring their latest and great. Well, we'll have to talk about this, because not everybody brought their latest and greatest.
Some people, yeah, there's a couple disappointments. I'm not gonna lie to you.
But they show up, they bring cameras, they bring grip, they bring accessories, they bring lights, and it is like a kid in a candy store.
It really is. I asked you guys in the chat before we got started, what was the thing that you're most excited about? And right now, I see it coming in from Ghost. It says, PYKIS, hands down. Now, look, we got to talk about the PYKIS because I got a chance to get hands-on with it. I got a chance to play with it. And I got some thoughts that might not make people too happy. I'm just going to keep it real.
It's Gen 1. It's Gen 1.
It's okay. Yeah. And I'm being very nice about it. It's Gen 1. Yes. I haven't shot with it. I haven't put it on set. So I'm going to reserve my opinions, but I will tell you my hands-on opinions, at least from looking at it. I won't talk about shooting with it or sensors or image quality, but I'll tell you guys a little bit about that. Someone says, just ordered the Blackmagic PYKIS 6K. Can't wait to get my hands on it. Look, I can't wait to get my hands on it too, because from what I experienced on the floor, I need to get my hands on it. I definitely need to get my hands on it. Next one says, my first year hearing about NAB, just like my first year ever attending / volunteering at South by Southwest. Yeah, so if you don't know what NAB is, yo, it happens every single year. I have pretty much made it like my yearly routine. It's kind of like once a year I go to Vegas. Family knows about it. Jarrell, you want to go back?
Oh, absolutely. I literally was thinking, like, what did he have? Yes, absolutely. It's in Las Vegas, which is incredible.
Right.
So much fun. And yeah, like whatever you think it was, you can obviously look up stuff on YouTube, but whatever you think it is, it's so much bigger.
Yeah, I feel like right now, I know a lot of people are releasing their videos talking about, their experience and their top pieces of gear and whatnot. And even we're doing this live stream on it. But if you do have the capability to go, I think you absolutely should. But I will warn you, if it's your first year going, the word I used to describe it was overwhelming. Like, because everyone is there, you're like a kid lost in a candy store. It's like being in Willy Wonka's factory and there's just like stuff everywhere. And you're just like, I don't know where to go next. Like, I go to this booth, I go to that booth. And
excitement soon turns into sadness.
Well,
because when you look at it, you're like, oh my gosh, I need this new lens. Oh my goodness, I need this DJI Focus Pro. Oh my goodness, I need this new light mat. And then you realize there's not enough money in the world.
I think that's it. Like, you realize really quickly, you're like, oh, even if you put money aside before you go to NAB, you walk away feeling, you're like, oh, I'm broke. I can't afford half of this stuff. And
there's about 10 things that you're like, I want. And that's $30,000. That's $40,000.
Yeah. And that's per item. No.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, no, absolutely fun. There was another one. So Blazar Catos from Taylor. Look, I am going to be super real with you. I was so excited about the Blazar lenses before I showed up. And when I got a chance to see them, Jarrell, you saw it. There has never been a lens that I have wanted to get my hands on more than the Blazar lenses.
They wouldn't budge.
Dude, wouldn't budge.
They wouldn't budge.
Like, they say they have nothing in stock. And I was just like, yo, I think that made me want them more.
It shows how popular the lenses are.
Yeah.
Like they said, like a 2-month lead time, something like that.
You know what's wild though? Before they were Blazar, they were another company called Greatjoy. And I remember getting ads for those lenses thinking, man, those look like they're pretty good, but they're definitely missing some stuff. I saw some images from them. And boy, you talk about a comeback story. Greatjoy was on no one's map. They did some branding. They changed it up, went Blazar, got some footage out there, reached out to homie Cam Mackey, and it's a whole new company.
Seriously.
Whole new company.
They feel like the it product of NAB.
Yes.
Right?
Like in the lens space for sure.
But not even like on a trendy thing.
Yeah.
Like quality anamorphic.
And you know what's crazy? And this is something that I did notice about NAB this year, is it feels like everything is starting to really become more and more affordable. Like now is sort of like the best time to be a creator, because like I believe, and this is just my opinion, but I believe that like between, it's almost like the stars aligning, like between cinema cameras getting cheaper, we're looking at Blackmagic, and lenses like anamorphic and Do Lenses is the company that we saw. Do Lenses is another really affordable set of lenses. Those lenses are coming down, and cinema lenses are just easier to do because you don't have to worry about autofocus or any of those things. But then to somebody's point in the chat, we also have companies like DJI making LiDAR autofocusing a thing. It just feels like all these stars are starting to come together to make it to where like, it doesn't matter what camera you want, what lens you want, autofocus, no autofocus, manual focus. Like, it just seems like the stars are aligning to where the perfect camera package now exists. And any problems or issues that you might think you might be running into with any of these systems, there's a solution out there for you. It
wasn't that long ago that you remember a $60,000 red.
Yes.
Or to do full frame on Canon was $16,000.
Right.
And so while prices for some, they're still high.
Yeah.
Like $3,000, $4,000 is still a lot of money.
It is.
But in comparison to like 6-7 years ago, like, dang, we're in an exciting space when it comes to camera technology.
Absolutely. Justin Porter is in the chat. He says the Deity DXTX, favorite, most exciting piece of gear. Look, of course it is for him.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
Did we go to the Deity booth?
I don't think we made it to the
I don't think we made it to them.
That's how big this place is.
Yeah.
Like, it's so nuts. Like, there's a couple companies that we didn't make it to, and we were there for 4 days.
Yeah.
Like, it is
and we went every day.
And we went every day. Now, granted, the last day, I was really tired. I was like I had a mission. I went and talked to 2 people, and then I was out. But I will say, it is a massive event, and there's so much gear out there. Someone says, yo, Canon made a brother so sad. Look, let's talk about it really quick, because I know
you can go on the prosecution. I'll go on the defense.
Oh my God. Okay, look. As far as like disappointments at NAB.
Who goes first though? Hold on. In the courtroom, does the defense give I think the defense gives their thing first.
That seems weird.
Before you go in.
That seems weird.
Before you go in.
Okay.
So check this out.
Okay.
We know.
Yep.
On the horizon.
Oh gosh.
That this year, end of May, we are getting the R5 Mark II and the R1. They weren't ready. They fumbled the bag, but they weren't ready. They're coming out with 2 cameras. Now, I heard from an unnamed source that there might be a new C70 full frame coming out. No, can't be confirmed.
I think you're absolutely.
But I'm just throwing it out there that we may have 3 incredible cameras, 1 cinema camera and 2 mirrorless cameras.
I doubt it.
They did. What do you doubt?
I'm doubting. I don't believe your source.
They've already. Well, okay.
I don't believe your source.
The C70 full frame is a little stretch, but the R5 Mark II and the R1 are coming out in a month.
Okay, so here's my thing. If you were going to announce it in a month, why couldn't you demo it at NAB? Like, I'm just saying, it is the biggest show of the year. You know exactly what time it is every year. If it was coming out in a month, it would have came out at NAB. I think we aren't going to see those cameras until maybe the holiday season.
They fumbled the bag.
Dude,
they should have at least had a picture.
Could you imagine?
They should have at least had something, but it's in the hands of photographers. Like, I know they're doing some stuff with the Olympic. Like, the cameras are real. The prototypes are few. They should have had a picture. They fumbled the bag, but it's not like nothing is coming out.
Look, I'm done with it. But
Canon people unite.
No. Yeah, they're all sad. They're all crying right now in the chat. We all know it. Justice says, dude, I used that lens at the Zcam booth. So I did not know, because I saw Zcam in there. I did not know that Zcam, or the owner of Zcam, or the company of Zcam, actually has a lighting brand called Zolar.
Zolar.
And we went over to the Zcam booth, not necessarily to look at the Zcam, because, I mean, come on. I got my Komodo, so I'm just not looking at the Zcam.
Why will you Zcam when you can Komodo?
Actually, Zcam is actually not terrible. But yeah. My thought was, I went over there because everyone kept talking to me about those Zolar lights. God, look at those Zolar lights. And we went over there and we learned a lot. I also learned that I don't know a lot when it comes to measuring the quality of lights and the science behind how you measure the quality of lights. And so it's definitely sent me down a rabbit hole for some new information. But yeah, no, I'm absolutely, what do you say? Bro, Zcam is actually, let me stop. We already know.
It's too early.
It's too early. It's too early in the morning for that. Look, you ain't gonna lie to nobody on here.
Look, no, but hey, this might be a hot take, but keep an eye out on Zolar.
You know what?
Keep an eye on, they're young. Not, I mean, they could have been around forever, but like, it feels like they're coming on the scene.
Yeah.
With an affordable, they say highest quality.
Yep. And they're rating it up against the sun. That was a really interesting thing. Now, I will say, last year I went to the Zcam booth and Zolar was not a part of it. So that is something that was new to this year. That was really interesting. But hey, it is what it is. Another one of the things I loved is, like, in the chat right now, we have Kevin. He says, hello, guys. I'll pull him up real quick. Got a chance to meet a lot of amazing people at NAB this year. And that is actually one of the things I love the most about NAB. When you talk about wins of NAB, it has to be connections. I mean, we ran into so many of you guys at NAB, took photos, hung out, talked a little bit about, especially those of you guys who enjoy the show. Like, that to me was actually the most exciting thing, because it was like, we hang out on a weekly basis here talking about camera gear and talking about the news and everything else. But then to actually see you guys in person and talk to you a little bit was, in my opinion, that was the best part.
Yeah, it was so cool to see how many people like came up. We handed out merch.
Oh yeah. So as you can see, we're both rocking the new CFA flannel. It's not for sale. We were just giving it away, and then we also gave away, and we still have a few left, some CFA hats, which is like the ones that I'm currently wearing right now. But yeah, gave out merch, played some games. Like, we took the show kind of on the road a little bit and played a couple games. So we'll have some content from that coming out in the future. But yeah, no, it was absolutely fun.
Yeah, it was so cool running into people. And shout out to you, chat. People, like, I'm not a YouTuber. People who don't know me. But like, when people are like, hey, Jarrell, and I'm like, oh, that's wild. You guys love me. I love y'all.
All right. You know what? You know what's the best moment of that? You know when I thought was the best moment of that? When I saw you light up the most was when we got a chance to meet someone very special. someone we've actually had here on the show. So as some
I
of
don't
you
know who he's talking about.
Oh, you're going to know in just a second. So as you guys know, we have had the opportunity to have a lot of amazing guests on this show. And one of the big highlight moments was when we were actually able to have the CEO or the previous CEO of Red, Jarrell Land, here on the Uncensored show. And contrary to popular belief, I had actually never met him before in person. But
this man is a giant.
Dude, I was about to get to that. Dude, he is a giant. He is, bro. But
it's like I imagine when you meet Shaq and you're like this.
Dude, he is way taller than I expected, but so nice in person. We've had conversations via email and messages and on live streams and whatnot, but dude, it just translated into the real world and it was so amazing. But there was a massive surprise in the room when we went to meet Jared, was this that we also got a chance to meet the new CEO of Reds. And it was just an awesome little moment. It was a great moment. We're going to post some photos and some stuff from NAB. We just got back in town.
Some people say, I'm here for the creators. I'm with the creators. Dude, Jared, that man is genuine.
Yes.
Like the way that he, once again, we were on a live stream for 30 minutes.
Yep.
And just the way that he's like Jarrell and just the way that he's like hugs, like you can tell he made cameras for people. The kindest dude.
Yeah, absolutely. It was such an amazing moment. It was awesome to meet him in person. My favorite thing. So for those of you guys who haven't met me in person, I'm not the tallest person in the world. And because he's a giant, I'm talking giant. When he went to give me a hug, he squatted down. And I was just like, that's so nice. Because when I hug tall people, I feel so short, bro. I'm like, yo, I got to get above the belly button line.
Don't put my face in your belly button.
For real. Don't do that. And he's a giant. So mad respect to him.
Yeah.
Awesome experience. Actually, what was hilarious was got a chance to hang out with Justin Porter, got a chance to hang out with Cam Mackey and just see all the crazy stuff that they have going on. For me, that's really what I love most about NAB. Don't get me wrong. I'm there for some of the gear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about some of that gear here in a second.
Yeah.
But I love meeting other creators and hanging out with my creator friends and taking this thing that we do online, taking it in person. But yeah, just overall, before we get into some of the negative, I want to say NAB as a whole was a positive.
So cool. Well, let's not hold back from the people. Brandon, do you have 5 pieces of gear that you just thought blew you away or were just really great pieces of gear? 5 pieces that you thought were awesome.
Oh, man. 5. Ooh, that's going to be tough. Let me see if I can come up with them. I think for one, I know for sure my mind immediately goes to the aperture mats. One of the things that blew me away was just how big they are. Dude, they are massive. Mm-hmm. For me, I was just like, yo, I could absolutely see us using that in a production. But then I saw the 20 by 20 and I was like, yo, who's building that for every job? Put that in a studio and let it sit.
Seriously.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then we got a chance to go to
They're not even just heavy duty. Bro, they are bright.
Oh, yes.
We went to the not so secret aperture dinner
That's what I was
party.
about to get to.
And that 8x8 is blinding.
Yeah. It is so much output. But then they showed off some cool new technology about instead of just using and sort of just using normal lights, you could actually take a video and run that through the system. And then it'll use that video to replicate light. So when you're doing things like cars, someone driving, instead of just waving a light back and forth randomly, you could go film outside of a car window and then upload that video, and then it will take that information and apply it to the light. Dude, that's next level.
Yeah, they call it environmental lighting.
Environmental lighting.
And because you can pixel map, which basically means it's not just one LED that's either daylight or just tungsten.
Right.
You can literally take the colors of your environment And if you have a little sky in there, the top of it's blue. If you have a little bit of road in there, it's gray, and then the grass and green. And so Aperture talks about it like changing, revolutionizing how we light.
Yeah, and I think especially when it comes to things like virtual productions, it's going to absolutely change the game, because for a long time, you just needed more and more LED walls because you wanted to get some of that light spill back onto the subject. But now you can just use light mat, throw that up, have a video playing on it, the same video you can have playing on the background, and then literally have that same light replicated without having to have more LED lights.
Product number 2, actually, ironically, was one of those LED walls we saw. What was it? I can't remember the name of the company. Aoto. That's what it was. This LED wall had the cleanest wall I've ever seen. The subject was a foot away from the wall, and I couldn't see any LED diodes. Dude, the pixel pitch was sub 1 millimeter.
Yeah.
And it looked like a TV.
Yeah.
From any distance, it looked like, it's so hard to like explain this on a live stream and you're not able to see it in person. But on virtual production, this dude was playing the cello and it was fire.
Dude, it was the first time I was like, oh, wait, whoa. Oh man, we could do anything now. But that wall was ridiculously expensive and no one's going to be able to buy it, so it doesn't matter. I won't talk about... Is this
product 3?
I won't talk about the PYKIS. But I will put the new 12K on the list. It does look like an amazing new camera for Blackmagic. And I like what they're doing with that camera, specifically that
It's
camera.
huge.
It is big. It's a massive camera, but it feels like Blackmagic has said, we're going to throw everything we can at this, and we're not going to worry about the price. We're just going to make an amazing camera, which is something I feel like Blackmagic has needed to do for a while, because I feel like they try to live in that affordable price range, but it limits what they're doing with the camera. So sometimes it's nice to really, really push that camera, or to push that brand. And even with the announcement of the 17K, which it definitely sounds like they're like, yo, we could do digital IMAX. Like, we can get there. But I've got a theory. I've got a weird theory, but I want to say it on this stream right now because I like it when I theorize, because then when it comes true, I can pull this clip back up and be like, I knew it.
And if it doesn't,
just dies. No one ever saw it. But I've got a theory. I feel like Blackmagic is about to make a big move. And I believe it's going to take like maybe 2 or 3 years, but there'll be a shift where what we currently see as the Ursa, as being that, like, you know, high level production camera, but it's still fairly affordable, has some decent specs. And now that we see this 12K model coming out where they're throwing the technicians at it, right? And then they're saying 17K coming soon, throwing the technicians at it. I think we're going to see the Ursa sort of slide up. And then we're going to see the PYKIS sort of take its spot. And then we'll still have pockets. And the reason why I say that is when you look at the PYKIS, it feels so first gen, but it's also not named Pocket. It's not named Ursa.
Brand new category.
And it needs a place to sit. And so I believe that this version of the PYKIS is going to kind of be like the first Pocket 4K we ever got. Wasn't great. Micro Four Thirds, terrible battery life, fixed screen, so many little issues that needed to be fixed, but it was super affordable at like $12.99, I think it was, when it first came out. So I think we're going to see the PYKIS sort of take that middle spot. The Ursa is going to continue to fly forward. And then hopefully, as we get like a PYKIS Pro, we'll get something that has the swivel screen on the side, because right now we don't want it to compete with the Ursa. You know what I mean? So they're going to let the Ursa grow up, kind of be that 15,000, 20,000, 30,000, 17K version of itself.
Yeah.
And then we're going to see a PYKIS that sits somewhere between 3,000 to 5,000, where the original Ursa used to sit. And that'll be the new everyday camera. And then they'll still have their sub, you know, $3,000 to $5,000 cameras sitting in the pocket line. So making that prediction right now on the show.
Hot take. You know what's so crazy? And I might be stealing just a little bit of your thunder, but my not issue with Blackmagic, but the one thing that I always felt like was holding Blackmagic back a little bit was autofocus. And I was thinking, man, if they could just put autofocus in this, and now they might not need to.
Number four.
We
are now jumping into the DJI LiDAR autofocus system. Now, there's a lot of stuff that came out with this, but what DJI is doing to bring autofocus to cinema lenses, in my opinion, is the best new category product they have introduced since the original Ronin came out probably about 10 years ago. And I know that I'm also saying that's not, I'm taking drones out of that. Because for me, I believe that this product is going to put cinema into the hands of more people. When I say that, I mean cinema cameras. I mean, like for you, I know you're a huge proponent of photography lenses because you want that autofocus. You don't like cinema lenses, but now
I like them.
I bet you like them now.
I like them.
But look, that means now more people are going to be able to actually rock with these cinema lenses. And I think because of that, we're going to see cinema lenses and anamorphic lenses, like manual lenses. I think we're going to see a huge rise in not only the number of options that exist, but also the accessibility of these lenses, because autofocusing has scared so many people away from anything that requires manual focus that now with this, I feel like we have a really good chance at seeing cinema lenses really start to dominate and cinema cameras specifically really start to dominate.
You know what I'm interested in? With this only being $1,000, which is not, this isn't like a $5,000, $6,000 thing.
Right.
I want to know, can it do better than the autofocus systems inside your camera? So would it be better than the C70 autofocus? Would it be better than the R6 or whatever?
Sounds like a video idea. Cam Mackey, hit me up. I'm coming out to see you. Let's do it.
So I'm excited for it because, man, it feels like with LiDAR, you're taking the guesswork out.
Right.
It's not like, oh, do I see an eyeball necessarily? It's like, how far is that eyeball from me? So I'm excited.
Well, it looks like Cam Mackey agrees. He says the Focus Pro instantly became his most used piece of gear. And that's big. But Cam Mackey is someone who we know is jumping from the Rangers to the Blazars. Like, he loves his cinema lenses. And so I think that we're going to see this happen across the board. I think you're going to see way more cinema lenses getting bought up. I think you're going to see more companies releasing more cinema lenses, because when you are a small run and gun one-man band and you just can't have a first AC there to pull focus for you, because a first AC is a lot. You know, it's not only like a motorized focus system, but then it's also wireless transmission and an extra monitor, and then a very skilled individual who doesn't ruin your shot.
Take it again.
It's like, let's do one more for safety. Yeah, that shot was 100% out of focus.
Let's do another one.
Exactly. I think that's going to be really interesting. So I wonder what it's going to do on the big scale. I don't think it's going to like change too much in Hollywood because they're pretty slow to adopt things like this. But I do love that the technology is out there and we are starting to see that it's going to continue to grow. So that'll be fun.
All righty. Number 5.
Oh, man.
And honestly, you still have a lot left. You still have a lot left that you can.
What are you thinking?
Oh man, we can go down the rabbit hole of lenses. We can go down. We could go down the rabbit hole of software. I mean, there's so many things that we could do.
Okay, I'm gonna put this one on the list specifically for you, and it's only because I know you're gonna love it, and it's because I'm excited about it.
I think it's going to shift the landscape.
But I'm equally as nervous about it. I'm incredibly nervous about it. And that is the fact that Adobe just announced their new generative fill inside of Premiere Pro.
It looked, if y'all haven't seen the announcement, don't look at it now. But if you haven't seen the announcement, that is some, that is...
Is wizardry?
That's some sorcery. That's some sorcery, bro.
Look, I don't believe in magic, but it's close. You know what I mean? This could convert me.
So I remember it hasn't been a year, maybe like 6-7 months when Adobe had their little thing. Not little thing, when they had their like conference.
Adobe Max, yep.
Yeah. And they were talking about it, and it felt like, man, this is the future, and it's kind of far away. But looking at their beta, oh my goodness, it looks so good. There's a few problems, but it looks good.
Look, for me, I look at generative fill inside of Photoshop is probably the number one most used AI tool that I currently interact with on a daily basis. I don't think there's a thumbnail that goes out that doesn't have generative fill helping me, even just something simple as like cleaning up a section, right? Now, I'm not like filling in like a birthday cake or something crazy like that, but I am using it to like, clean up backgrounds, change things. And it has literally made me feel like I am a wizard at Photoshop. If this comes to Premiere and it is as good as Photoshop is now, which Photoshop is only going to continue to get better.
Yes.
But if this gets as good as Photoshop now, dude, like the sky is the limit. Like I know that Adobe is, showing off. If you guys haven't seen the video or whatever, they show off things like you have a briefcase, you open it up, and you didn't have enough prop money to get enough actual diamonds. So you select the section and you say filled with diamonds, and it fills the shot. And again, we're talking about video. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about it is artificially changing the video you already captured.
Frame by frame.
Frame by frame. If that gets as good as Photoshop now, because I would see myself using it more so for cleaning up stuff. I can't tell you how many times I'm
taking out logos,
taking out a logo, get rid of a sign,
absolutely
change the size of a bit. Like, I mean, your
extending your clips.
So that's where, for me, where my brain immediately goes is, oh, you could shoot everything horizontal, scale it up a little bit, and then just generatively fill top and bottom for video. Because I've had to try to do that before, and I basically have to like have a locked off shot that's horizontal, take it into Photoshop, pull a still, bring it. It's such a nightmare. But now that you can do that directly coming soon, you'll be able to do that in Premiere. Absolutely blows my mind.
Yeah, they say 2024. The beta will drop sometime, but it's wild. I think it's going to change VFX. I think it's going to change. In them putting this in the hands of the everyday man and woman. Talking to you, Brittany. Switch. Oh, Brittany, no, she's on Premiere.
Brittany was on Premiere. Look, Cam says, y'all still using Premiere Pro? Look, I think you're going to have a lot of people. Look,
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Like, I'm not, but he is, and Brittany is. And now after this, I was like, ooh, do I go all in on DaVinci? Because I'm halfway through. Ooh.
Hot take. DaVinci Resolve looked like they were the clear front runner. I don't know now. I don't know.
I feel like
might need a bag to say otherwise.
I feel like right now it is for sure a fight. And honestly, I'm here for it. Now,
so many years went by where ain't nobody was doing nothing.
Right.
Now they're doing the most.
And what's crazy is they released this now at NAB. Not even at their own conference, Adobe Max. So that just tells you it's about to get nutty. And the one thing I forgot to mention, they put Sora in here. You can't even get access to Sora yet, but they're putting Sora inside of this. So Adobe's making some moves, and it feels like it's going to be a fun time to be a creator. That's for sure. I will say, for me, this year, and this kind of goes hand in hand with what we were talking about Adobe, I had started to get kind of like, about like our industry from like gear, because it felt like everybody was focusing on AI a lot. And I was like, oh my goodness, AI is moving so fast. But after coming back from NAB, we got to get you and Brittany, and then we'll get Tobin and Justin, and we'll get y'all on here. We'll have y'all fight it out, because I'm just sad. I'm just sitting here in Final Cut land.
Final Cut's eating popcorn on the side.
We're just like, it must be nice.
What's the last thing they did?
They dropped an iPad app. That's so embarrassing. In my defense, I have been switching to DaVinci for feels like the last year.
Yes.
But slowly learning it one weekend at a time, at least trying.
Apple, we believe in you. At least your computers. At least your computers.
Dude,
we believe in you.
I heard sad news that they pulled the whole Final Cut Pro team to work on Vision Pro.
Oh, I thought you meant they just pulled. We're stopping development.
Yeah, no, they might as well have. They show off DaVinci in all their ads. That's when I knew. I was like, oh.
Are they trying to bring Final Cut to the Vision Pro?
No, they just pulled the team. They pulled all their programmers and was like, that's not important. Go work on tap tracking. They're like, do you guys want AI in your Final Cut Pro tent? No, we want some of this.
I hear Apple's buying up a lot of AI, so maybe it'll translate. All right, transition.
Yeah.
What were some duds?
Okay, so I kind of talked a little bit about the PYKIS. I'm not gonna call it a full dud, but that side monitor, way harder to deal with than I thought it was going to be.
What were some problems with it?
Well, so if you are operating the camera from sticks, 9 times out of 10, you're behind the camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
With this camera, you have to be on the side because I just noticed, this is my experience in whatever model they had on the floor. If you're not looking at this screen, like straight on, if you're off angle at all, it is impossible to see it.
It gets dim and a little blue.
It gets very dim and very blue to the point to where I was kind of looking at it from the side. I was like kind of operating it on a tripod using the handle. And I was like, man, why is everything so underexposed? And it seems really like the white balance is off. But then they had a TV up front that you could see. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wait, no, everything looks good. And then I actually walked to the side of the camera. I was like, oh, this is a tough monitor. Mm-hmm. And so it feels like one of those cameras where it's similar to a Komodo, where like it's going to be highly recommended that you have a monitor. Mm-hmm. But at least with the Komodo, the monitor is on top, which means like when you're operating it, if you're handheld or on a tripod, you can at least look down and see it. You know what I mean? But very few people operate their camera in a one-man band scenario from the side. So it feels like they put it there. It's like a first AC location kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But it just feels really odd. And then on top of that, Blackmagic does sell monitors, which they would probably love to sell you a monitor. But that monitor doesn't have camera control. So you wouldn't be able to use touchscreen to actually control the camera, which is what I would love to see. So I am hoping that Blackmagic will give us an actual monitor that has control. And one thing that this camera has that I thought was really interesting is a locking USB-C port in the front, because that's where the EVF plugs into. So I'm going to go ahead and request that Blackmagic creates a touchscreen monitor that has camera control and that uses USB-C with that locking port in the front of the PYKIS. Mm-hmm. So that way it can send video and data, and I only have to use one port, and then I can save my SDI port in the back to be able to do transmission out if I needed to do that.
So even though the screen leaves something to be desired, do you feel like it's a deal breaker?
At $3,000, no. Because I feel like at $3,000, you could easily buy a monitor and attach it to it. But it's not what I wish. I just feel like we know this is going to get better. It's going to have to get better.
Absolutely. Gen 1 product, they're going to hear so much. They've been listening to people.
Yeah.
How long have people been asking for a box camera?
Since I was still shooting it.
And and literally, I feel like they came with almost everything. And I feel like companies won't say this because you said this a little bit before. They don't like, unless you're Sony, you don't really like competing with your other cameras.
Yeah.
So there has to be unless Sony be camera drops. Oh,
same camera.
Same camera.
Look, make the FX3 and the A7S3 make sense.
So anyway, so I do think this is Gen 1. They do listen. Excited for Gen 2. It's still excited for Gen 1.
Yeah.
So
I think if this camera would have the things that we really want, like a flipping screen on the side, it would have cannibalized the new Ursa. Yeah. For sure. Mm-hmm. So that's why I say my theory is that the Ursa will move up in price and that then we will get a really, really solid PYKIS Pro that'll come out. And then eventually a PYKIS, well, I guess this one's full frame. So yeah, I guess a PYKIS Pro. and maybe something that gives us built-in NDs, because I know that was something else that people were missing. They want built-in NDs, they want that screen on the side to swivel, and they want more than just one SDI port.
It's wild though. It's on, and we say this with a grain of salt. It's only $3,000.
We say only $3,000 because we're looking at the landscape of cameras. We're not trying to say $3,000 is not that's still a lot of money.
That is what they have right now is a ton of features, and I don't think personally anything stands beside it with features.
Now, the one thing I will say
at that price point,
the one thing I will say about this camera is I want it to be incredibly successful. I want it to blow up. I want it to do crazy numbers, because the last time Blackmagic did that, the whole industry rocked. And I mean, like, let's be real. We didn't get a Komodo until after a Pocket came out. You know what I mean? That small form factor cinema camera. We didn't get FX3s and FX30s until the Pocket came out. We didn't get Z cams until the Pocket came out. The Pocket showed everybody what was possible and what the market was looking for and what the market was willing to spend money on. So I want this camera to win, not only because it'll then mean that we'll get a Pro and a bunch of other cameras, but I think it'll also change what we see from everybody else.
They're definitely a disruptor, and that's really good. All right, what's another, maybe a dud? I feel like you kind of already threw out some hate a little bit, but
I mean, a dud was obviously Canon not dropping anything. Like, their booth, did we go to did we walk past it?
We walked by the perimeter. Dude, I feel like the best thing that isn't fair. The thing that excited me the most about their booth was the outside of the booth. With all their lenses. Yeah, looking at that 1200 millimeter and that 600 millimeter RF. Gosh.
Went home that night, started shopping. What'd you find out?
Yeah, I went on Facebook Marketplace, looked up some EF glass.
Bro, I'm telling you, going to NAB will have you double checking your wallet and realizing, man, this is just not as thick as I thought it was.
When I saw that $15,000-$16,000 price tag, I was like, yeah, I can do something used. 10 years old.
I'll go EF. I don't need RF. I'll adapt.
Seriously.
So yeah, that one to me was
disappointing that Canon didn't drop something. I do think that they have something in the pipeline. Well, we know they have something in the pipeline, but it was disappointing.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty rough. We all know that for the longest time it has been Sony, then it was Canon, and then it was Nikon. And Nikon said, what did Kendrick say? Oh,
yeah. There ain't no big three.
There ain't no big three.
It's just big me.
It's just big me, right? So Nikon said that when they bought Red. So that just pushed Canon down to the bottom, bro.
Well, hey, let's talk about market share. Canon's on top, baby.
Hey, look.
Canon's on top, baby.
That's because they're selling a bunch of sensors to
Canon's on top,
to
baby.
NASA and all of those. They ain't selling no cameras. Get out of here.
No. They own the
hey,
rebels.
In the chat, let me know. Are you in the rebels? Get out of here.
I'm just saying. They own the consumer market.
You're right.
Own it.
That's right. You show right.
But the printers.
You go be proud with all your soccer moms and baseball dads taking their camcorder.
Hey. Y'all got that light pockets. We got them deep pockets. Canon, hit me up.
Oh man, you're a trip. Now look, Canon all them deep pockets you talking about. Canon buys Blackmagic. What you think?
Oh man, yeah. I feel like there could be so many cool things.
What does Canon need to do right now?
Canon needs to stop caring about the C300 Mark III and the C500 Mark II. Stop it. Give us the C70 full frame. Give us a C90. Give us 8K. Give us 6K. I don't even care about 6K and 8K, but like, stop trying to protect. Stop crippling your let's say prosumer cameras because you're trying to protect your cinema line. The C70 for Canon has probably been their most popular, just like the Komodo, one of the most popular cinema cameras that they've sold. Stop protecting.
Wait. What did you say? You said stop? Because that's what Cam said. He says Canon just needs to stop.
No. Just stop protecting that. Hollywood's still going to be Hollywood. They're going to buy their C700s. Who has a C700? They're still going to buy that, but let the common man, okay, help us out. Help out the common man, Canon.
Oh man!
All right, you got any more duds? So Canon was a dud. The new Pixis screen might be a dud.
Yeah, I mean, really, I think those were the only major duds. Can you remember any other ones? Anything else I didn't really care for?
There's a lot of people that showed up that didn't have any release dates or prices.
Oh,
and that was a little disappointing.
That was right. Okay, so I know they were on my list of like things I was excited about, but like Aperture, like they released the new mats and I was super excited to get pricing and dates and things like that. And they didn't have it. And so like, maybe that's why Canon didn't give us anything new, because they couldn't give us the information. You know what I mean? Hey,
Sony, for listening, I'll take the FX3. I will take the FX6. I will take the FX9. No. Actually, I'll take the Burano.
Just give it.
And an A9.
Speaking of
Burano and A9, and I'm done.
Speaking of Burano, that one like tech product of the year.
Yeah. Like the main category.
I did not see that coming. Now I'm going to say this because I know Justin's in the chat and we bleed red around here. The Raptor X also won. But it didn't quite win product of the year, but it still won for its technology. But the Burano showed out, which is really interesting because I know there's been a lot of mixed feelings about the Burano, especially, we had on Rob Machado, and he had some mixed feelings about the Burano, but overall he was very, very happy with it. But the Burano seems to be a camera that is quickly starting to move and make waves. So we'll see.
All right, man. This has been so good.
Yeah. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Uncensored. Do us a huge favor. Hit that like button so that way anybody else who's on the YouTubes this week can get hit with this video in the algorithm, because I think we had a good time. I think we had fun, and I want other people to be able to enjoy that. So definitely be sure to check that out. Also, if you happen to be watching this on the replay, you should definitely check out the links in the description. So that way, because we'll have a lot of this stuff linked up there as well. And any last nuggets?
Yes. Keep your wallets in your pockets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Keep your wallet. Yeah. Don't buy anything for like the next.
You're going to go broke.
Next week.
You're going to go broke.
You're about to get flooded. And you might want to make a conscious decision. Or do what I always do. If you're going to buy something for you, just make sure you buy something for your significant other so it makes it go down easier, It's like when you, instead of just eating your vegetables, you get a fork of vegetables and steak at the same time. That's what you do.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But thank you guys so much for checking out this week's episode of Uncensored. And we will catch you next week at the exact same time, 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. See you guys there. Peace.